Okay, everybody, good night. This is the last theoretical class we got for this night. In this course. So let's start. I think we are expecting enough time to your classmates. Let's do it, okay? Today, we have some specific topics to check. We are going to talk about research articles, abstracts. In both of them, we are going to check the parts of this and ideas how to recognize these specific papers. Conference presentations, expressions that can help us to show a conference presentation successfully. And case presentations, how to show the information from a patient to doctors, maybe colleagues, superiors, I don't know. But a general view of this, taking into account when it's formal and when it's informal. Formal and informal. Okay, let's go. Research articles. We all have the experience of reading this. I think that it's the best way to get upload. And we all had the chance to introduce, to check, or to combine this information in order to make a proper job and show that we are ready to make it. We are ready to continue studying because it's from us into our specific branch. A research article is a journal article in which the authors report on the research they did. They make an investigation, and according to that, they can show this information to the rest of the community, science community, right? A research article are always primary sources. That's the first step for us while getting in studies in up-to-load process. Whether or not a research article is peer-reviewed depends on the journal that is published. It depends on the journal. And there are the steps to be checked and reviewed. The structure of a research article is the IMRAD structure. Introduction, the methods, results, and discussions. According to these 4 sections, they have the general organization of a good research article. In the introduction, we get the chance to check the background information. It reminds the reader what is known, includes information about previous studies, explain what has not been investigated previously, and there's usually a statement of the objective. In that part, we place why we are writing down this article, About methods, they give details of people who were a part of the research. Of course, very important to our group while working. Contains information about any intervention carried out. Gives details of the steps taken in the study. How the participants were chosen, and includes the main things measured. So, with the methods, we have the chance to organize the information and to show how it is done. The results, well, of course, they show the findings of the study. Even or not they are positive or negative, the results has to be there. In that way, it's possible to write this kind of paper. In the discussion, contains explanations and claims for the importance of the study, list limitations or unsatisfactory parts of the study, suggest what research needs to be done in the future. There's usually a conclusion as a separated section. I mean, they talk about the discussion in one section, and then you got the subtitle, conclusion, and then you read the conclusion of the research. And of course, the acknowledgements. Here, authors thank people who have helped in their research, and there's the list of references. I mean, the bibliography. When we talk about objectives, we contain or we check specific verbs. According to that, we have some examples to explain every verb. Always they have to be in past, because when you show this information, you are not making the study at that moment. You made it in past, right? That's why it has to be in past too. For example, for assess, we assessed whether, determine. The aim of the study was to determine whether, investigate, we could say, we investigated the, about evaluate. This study evaluated the, and then you go, here you go, you got all the answers about it. About the main findings, they are usually in the discussion section at the beginning. Is related to the objective, and typical verbs include, I mean, the most common and typical verbs are this list. For example, show. We have shown that, because we are giving a result, we are showing something new maybe. That's why, according to the situation, what we are studying or making an investigation, we choose the verb we certainly need. The same rules like in Spanish. Okay. Confirm. Our study confirmed that, and there you go. Provide evidence. These findings provide strong evidence that, so you can see. If results are less than certain, you could use the next verbs. Suggest. These results suggest that. And when the results are negative, we could say, well, we could use the verb fail too. We said this study failed to show that. So you can check, you can notice that these situations are so clear. And these verbs are going specifically to the point we certainly need while talking, right? And while showing the information we were under investigation. About abstracts, well, we have to consider this. A medical abstract is a summary of a research study that allows readers to quickly learn about the important aspects of the study. In medical journals, an abstract is usually presented at the beginning of the published article. Abstracts are also a main vehicle of communication at scientific meetings. I mean, we all have the chance to participate in a congress. Previously, they asked for abstracts that could be shown during the congress if you are a member of a society or something like that, right? You got this chance. For making your abstract, of course, you at the beginning need your full article, and from that you can prepare this abstract with specific details. In this resume, in this abstract, you show the most important aspects. The British Medical Journal abstract is divided into the following sections. I mean, for abstracts, you have rules to write it down. It's not just write because of yes. You have rules, you have a number of words, you have a number of sentences, and you have, again, specific words to use into this. You must show in your abstract the objective, the design, I mean, the kind of study you are doing. You talk about the settings, of course, the subjects, the main outcome measure, how you prepare your measured your methods, the result, and the conclusion. All of these details must contain specific information in order to take and collect the correct information. And according to that, it's possible to do it properly. This is an example, just an example. We don't have to read this, of course. But we got this abstract in order to realize how it has to be in a structure. As you can see, all of these subtitles, objective, design, settings, subjects, and everything are divided by specific sentences showing how it's done, but without an extra or a detailed explanation. So it's possible to make it properly following these steps. At this point, it's just a general view, of course, but now we have maybe a key to start studying this, and according to that, write them down properly. Well, conference presentations. In my opinion, a conference presentation is one of the best activities we can do. And I think that we all had the chance to prepare a presentation. Maybe not in a conference, maybe not with a huge group of professionals or colleagues. But during the med school, we had a chance to do this. So we can realize that this activity is very common in order to talk properly, to make a good explanation, and to do it in the right way. So a conference is a meeting, often lasting few days, which, give me a second, something appears. Okay, which is organized on a particular subject or to bring together people who have a common interest. In my case, it's emergency medicine. So I'm not interested in going into another branches that of course are important, but that's not my topic, not the branch I work, not in the way I decide to live in and continue. So we had this opportunity to do this. Please give me a second. I need to check my baby. Okay, thank you. I'm here again. So coming back to the common interest, of course, all of us is going to check to show the particular interest in a particular branch, and it's an own decision, right? It's a right that all of us get during the opportunity, we can say. And conference presentations provide great opportunities for you to communicate your research to a wide and interested audience, get feedback on your work, learn from other presenters, and broaden your professional network. Of course, right? We must get on preparation and practice because they are the key to getting the most of these occasions. Without practice, it's not possible to show a correct presentation, a correct conference. We must go in front of the mirror and practice technique on the time. Usually there are 15 or 20 minutes, it's according to the place and the conference you're giving, because there's a list of professionals that are going to show the research or make a summary of different articles, or make an analysis about a situation that at the moment is very important, right? So let's take this in count. The structure of a presentation, of course, is very important. Following these structures, it's easy to understand how to do it. It's easy to organize our ideas and then show how it could be done properly. Conference or congress presentations are typically divided into IMRAD sections. We were checking the IMRAD, right? If the presentation has a different form, the speaker may start by outlining its structure. I mean, we as a presenters have the chance to show, to make the line, or to outline how to do this. I mean, how the presentation is going on. This helps to orientate the audience. When we orientate the audience, we can use these expressions to show what we are going to talk about. I'll begin by, and then I continue. First of all, I'll then, secondly, I'll, finally, I'll. So as you can see, I'm telling the audience which part of the presentation we are talking about. Some other ways to start a new section with a signal or with a specific expression could be now and then continue. Moving on to X, moving on to the next objective, for example, or as far as is concerned, as far as the treatment is concerned. So we have the chance, right? We have opportunities to give a specific expression showing that we are going to change the way of talking without losing the previous point. An alternative techniques is to use a question. I mean, we can start in that way. To introduce the method, we could say, how did we investigate this problem? Well, a question makes it more interesting and it's easier to make. To introduce results, we could say, what did we find? Easy, right? Or to introduce discussion, how does this compare with previous studies? Easy, that's one of the best ways to do it, making questions, because we catch the attention of the audience and it's easier to make. About the introduction, a formal way of beginning is, I'd like to present to you the result of our research into. So polite. The expression I would like, of course, is polite, is formal. We all know about it. And we are being so clear on this. Many speakers prefer to begin in a less formal way. That's my case. When we first began to look into the question of X, we thought, and then we start talking about personal experience into the group of audience. Or you may wish to begin with a generalization or reference to shared knowledge. It's well known that, okay, you got the key. Or you could say many studies have shown that you are introducing that you didn't prepare just your own information. So you were checking lots of material in order to prepare this properly. X has established clearly that. So we are going to make a contrast about investigation, but from the point of view of the result, right? That's a good way to introduce the topic idea. About signaling, well, are important to consider them in order to make more interesting the speech you are giving. For emphasizing an idea, you could say, I'd like to emphasize, and then you continue. You could make listing points. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, and according to the situation, you choose how many points you certainly need. By experience, don't use more than 4. Referring to slides, you could say this slide shows, easy. Giving examples, for instance, such as, so you got it, right? And contrasting ideas. On the other hand, in contrast, however, I mean, showing maybe the opposite situation or the opposite comparison with. Taking this in account is easier to make it, right? While talking about the conclusion, of course, it's important too. Because if we make a great conclusion, a good one, we can ensure the success of the conference. Why we ensure this? Because if people understand when it has to finish, no matter the time, is because you got the attention of the audience. That's why it's important to talk about it properly. You can sum up the contents or the main conclusions. You can use all of these examples. So, in conclusion, to sum up, or finally, 4 ways to do it properly. And some ideas we can see. I'd like to say end by. This studies show. So you can use these ideas to make it interesting, right? Well, now a very common situation could be said in our career are the case presentations, because we all had the chance to show the patient information to a superior while being a student. We all had the chance to give this information to our superior, maybe, or in the residency course. According to that, a case presentation is a formal communication between healthcare professionals, such as doctors and nurses, regarding a patient's clinical information. Just clinical information, please. Essential parts of a case presentation include identification, reason for a consultation or for admission, right? The main complaint. The case presentation should be chronological and detailed, the history, physical findings and investigations followed by the patient's course. At this point, you may wish to include more details than you might have time to present, prioritizing the content later. We all know this. You have to be clear on this. We introduce the patient, talking about name, age, and where they born, where they grew up, pathological antecedents, familiar antecedents if they are necessary. And then we go to explain the main complaint. Then we give the the case report, a brief resume, of course, and then we give the physical exam. While finishing the physical exam, we start talking about labs, X-rays, ultrasound, CT scan, MRI, according to the imaging study you developed and you get the result. And finally, you talk about the treatment that the patient is receiving. So let's check. We got this chart, and into this chart, we can realize the sections of a case presentation. A lot of information, right? But that's the correct way to make it. In order we make it and fill all the spaces, it's possible to understand how it's going on. In the introduction, we could say, I'd like to present Mr. Simpson. Present is the verb you have to use here, not introduce, because you are not friends. You are not talking about a new friendly relationship. It's better to say, I'd like to present him with this clinical case. Oh, easier. Well, age and occupation, 34-year-old plumber. Symptoms and duration, who presented with a monthly history of restlessness. As you can see, with medical language, medical terminology, I mean, no giving, not using plain information, I mean. Everything in medical terminology. The associated symptoms, he also complained of ankle swelling, which has 4 weeks. The past medical story, well, the personal medical history. There was no relevant past history because, well, maybe the patient was without any pathological situation. Then we go to the social history. He was married with 1 son. He smoked 25 cigarettes a day and drank about 50 units of alcohol per week. It's a lot. Then we go to the family history. If it's necessary, we don't always use this detail, but sometimes it's proper to do this. His father died of myocardial infarction at the age of 42. His mother was alive and well. Findings on examinations. We can say on examination, he was obese. And then you go ahead. Investigation results, I mean, laboratory tests, X-rays, ultrasound, CT scan, MRI. That's the order of showing the results. In this case, we did a chest X-ray, which showed then we give the diagnosis. So we thought he had, and then we talk about the treatment. We gave him intravenous furosemide, and at the end, we talk about the outcome, what happened to him. We said he responded to treatment and was discharged home. He was sent home, yeah. So taking into account all of these steps, let's meet Mr. Simpson. Here's Mr. Simpson. For example, we got the bedside presentation. It's a less formal type of case presentation. It can take place at patient's bed. For example, during the ward rounds, when the house officer presents a new patient to the consultant, or in a teaching ward round, when a medical student presents a case of the tutor. This type of presentations begin less formally, of course, And we can say, this is Mr. Simpson, he's 34 and he's a plumber. He came into the hospital yesterday, sent by his GP. He was complaining of breathlessness, which he has had for 1 month. So you can check this. In this bedside presentation, we are not talking about familiar antecedents, social history, nothing like that, because it's not relevant at this point. That's why I was telling you, when you certainly need this, you prepare this information. The slides from a medical presentation have a specific structure. I mean, in a formal presentation, the main points are usually summarized on the slide. So, in order, slides can help you to organize the information. It's better to read properly all the chart I'm sending here. Right? We got here the same explanation. Mr. Simpson, 34, plumber. Okay. Then we said complaint of dyspnea 1 to 12, ankle swelling 2/52. Then we got the social history. Married with 1 son, 25 cigarettes per day, 50 units of alcohol per week. All the pH, personal history, nothing important, nothing relevant, okay? Well, the family history, he had a father. His father is dead since he was 42. About the physical exam, there was obese, 2 spider navy on chest, pulse 110 minutes per second, and the BP, the blood pressure, 100/60. Okay. The chest X-rays showed an enlarged heart and bilateral pleural effusions. So that's the way to organize the information into slides. About how to prepare the slides. Well, I think it's not so hard, but it's possible to make following these steps and following the details we certainly need. That's another reason to use abbreviations properly. And that was the last presentation I got for you tonight, for this course, for this group. I know there's a lot of information to continue checking, but okay, I'm gonna send you the pool to take attendance, okay? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna send it again, Natalie. Don't worry about it. Okay, great. All of you could watch the pool, I think, right? Okay, thanks for your attendance tonight. This is the last part. And don't forget, tomorrow we have the final test. I'm repeating this again because it's important to ensure this idea. We start at 8 o'clock, like a theoretical class. We only have 2 hours to fill all the material, everything. We only have 2 hours. That's the deadline that the institution is giving to us. We need the camera turned on, and the answers have to be clear, detailed. If I cannot understand handwriting, it's not possible to take in account. You only have okay. Okay, the slides, you got them into the okay, so tomorrow come on time, and we are going to start at 8 o'clock. We don't have a chance to wait for colleagues or doing something different. There is no way to do this. So we can go home, and give me a second. Don't worry. Anything, any detail you would like to check again, please let me know via message now. Okay, if there are no questions, there's no trouble on me, we can leave. And see you tomorrow, okay? Have a great night and keep on reading. Don't worry about it.
See you, teacher.
See you, Maria, see you.
Teacher, one question.
Yes, let me know, Maria.
Can you repeat me the day for exam?
Tomorrow night.
Teacher, I can't.
There is no way to change it, Maria. I was asking for a situation with a classmate, but there is no possibility to do this.
What is the time of the exam?
8 o'clock, the same as the theoretical class.
8 o'clock is okay. It's 7 o'clock. Okay,
Yes,
teacher. I try to take exam. Sorry.
Yes, try to do that because I was talking about moving time in order to people who's working at that time. But the academic supervisor told me that it's not possible to do this.
Okay, it's tomorrow 8 o'clock of time of Bolivia.
No, time of Bolivia, the GMT 4.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
In Mexico is 1 hour earlier, right?
Bueno. Yes, for me it's 1 hour late, early.
Okay, so it could be at 7 with you.
Sí, 7 o'clock. Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, try to get into Maria, please.
Yeah. Yes, teacher. Thank you. See you
See
tomorrow.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.